he's back. Jalen Hurts leading the way to a 1 seed, 22-16. Philadelphia falling on an onside kick. New York not saying uncle in this one, fighting back late, but not enough as they finish their season 9-7-1, headed to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. They will represent the 6th seed, but the Eagles on ice next week after locking up the division and the 1 seed and the most wins in franchise history. 14-3 on the year with their quarterback back in ballin', 20 of 35, 229. Ran for 13, looked to protect that shoulder, did throw an interception as well. CBS Sports NFL and draft analyst Ryan Wilson also joining the conversation here. Ryan, as we break down what we've seen here in Week 18, the Eagles finally check the box. They get the 1 seed, they get the bye, and they get their quarterback here back out of necessity. What did you see out of Jalen Hurts today, B-Mac, and was it enough to feel good? I know you're going to get another week, but feel good about being that team in the NFC.
No question. Number one, it felt good seeing him back in the lineup, making things happen with his legs. You can tell he was extremely smart and critical in running the football, not trying to receive or sustain any hits. Didn't look super efficient, but I'm not surprised because he's been away from the game for quite some time. But the rhythm is still there with his pass catches. You look at A.J. Brown, another huge day. We saw Smith, Dallas Goedert. So understanding and knowing Jalen Hurts seems to be very, very healthy. You have to like their opportunities in regards to the playoffs. And not to mention, as you mentioned, Joe, he will get an extra week to rest, being that they have locked up the number 1 seed.
It's funny, B-Mac, because about midway through the third quarter there, I was thinking, okay, let's pull out Jalen Hurts, let him rest. He got to knock the rust off after missing some time. And then the Giants come back, and you understand why Jalen Hurts is in there. But I think you hit all the highlights. His rapport with his wide receivers looks as sharp as ever. I think he needed to get out there and knock some of that rust off, knowing that they're going to be off this week. And he didn't run the ball, which is exactly what you wanted, a guy who's not quite yet 100%. So if you're going down the checklist, Joe and B-Mac, I think that Jalen Hurts did exactly everything you wanted him to do within the confines of the offense, and they found a way to win that football game against a Giants team that, unlike previous Giants teams in recent years, refused to die. So credit to them as well.
They go 5 wins better, do the Eagles, in back-to-back seasons from the depths 2 years ago to the 1 seed. And the big addition, you guys mentioned him this offseason, was A.J. Brown.
Yes.
4 for 95 here in Week 18, B-Mac. When you outline what sort of a game changer he is, what he adds to this offense, what he brings to this franchise, it was a home run swing, and they seem to hit one here this offseason.
No question. When you have a young quarterback and you want to see a young quarterback grow and develop, go get him a number 1. That's the remedy. That's the recipe for all the organizations that are trying to develop a young quarterback. Please go find them a nice, proven number 1 wide receiver, because I'll say this about Jalen Hurts. I love his game, but he's a better quarterback with A.J. Brown. Josh Allen is a better quarterback with Stephon Diggs. You know, so looking at and seeing what we've witnessed throughout this season with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, the difference has been offensively. Number 1, Jalen Hurts has really grown. He's been very, very smart with the football. Outside of that, A.J. Brown is a dog. He is a number 1. You don't question that. And he has been proven time and time again, week in and week out, in an Eagles uniform. And you know the Tennessee Titans are still just crying. They don't have enough napkins to wipe all the tears from their eyes.
And that's the point to be made as well. A receiver is going to make the quarterback better, but a quarterback of Jalen Hurts' a cloth going to make that wide receiver a whole lot better as well. Ryan, obviously this is a deal that costs some compensation, and obviously that is fulfilled here in the way that he's performed. What does he open up in this offense now as we move towards playoff time and that window gets a little bit tighter each and every game?
Yeah, B-Mac touched on it. He's the number 1 receiver. No one's talking about Jalen Reagor anymore. No one's talking about the fact that the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor 1 pick before the Vikings found some guy named Justin Jefferson, who I think turned out to be pretty good up in Minnesota. And B-Mac noted also as well, I guarantee you last night the Tennessee Titans wish they had A.J. Brown. And while Treylon Burks, I think, is going to be a really good football player, the young man in Arkansas they drafted in the first round after trading A.J. Brown, no one on planet Earth, including Treylon Burks, thought he was going to have a type of year that A.J. Brown typically has and is currently having in Philadelphia. And, B-Mac, you noted how Stephon Diggs took Josh Allen's game to the next level. I remember a few years ago, I was at the Senior Bowl, and guess who I was watching? I was watching Justin Herbert, and I was watching Jordan Love. Oh, by the way, there's some guy working out next to them named Jalen Hurts that no one was taking seriously until the Eagles drafted him in the 2nd round. And at that point, people were like, well, what in the world is Howie Roseman doing? They have their quarterback. turns out Harry Roseman knows what he's doing when it comes to quarterbacks and also when it comes to trading for wide receivers and A.J. Brown. And together, those two guys have revitalized an offense. And of course, Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen have a lot to do with it as well. But this has been an incredibly fun team to watch, in large part because of what A.J. Brown has brought and how he has helped elevate Jalen Hurts' football game. And he has helped them earn the right to sit and wait here in Super Wildcard Weekend. The Giants, however, will be in action, a live side here, and we saw that to the final drop against the Eagles, a team that's not really going to lay down for everybody from a roster standpoint, going to be playing from a deficit no matter who they match up with. But in the NFC, there's an obvious line of demarcation, with all due respect to the Vikings and the Bucs, but you don't want to see 1 and 2. You might have a chance against 3 and 4. The matchup Giants-Vikings, that 3-6. B-Mac, I know we've been all in on the Vikings this year, but how big of a problem can this Giants team be for those Vikings?
Very, very big, because they're a physical team on both sides of the football, and they just know how to stay within a ball game. We saw that today with a team full of backups on both sides of football for the Giants, but they made this thing very, very interesting against the Eagles, playing against basically their entire starting team. It's something about the Giants when you watch them play and then you look at the scoreboard at the end of the ball game, they find a way to win ball games. This is a team that believes in the coaching staff. They believe in the scheme on both sides of the football. But most importantly, they play hard-nosed football. And remember, they played against the Vikings a few weeks ago. That was basically a game in their hand. Of course, the Cardiac Vikes, at that time, they found a way to win that ball game. But the Giants, that's the wrong sparring partner you want to get in the ring with, because if you're not careful, they'll put you to sleep.
And we're going to see how it all plays out on Super Wildcard Weekend. B-Mac, Ryan, appreciate you guys as always. Taking a look at some history that continues to roll on in the NFC East. For the 18th consecutive season, it's somebody else. Philly will try and put that streak to an end this time next year. But if you're everybody else, here's to hoping for that silver lining. Spin the wheel in the NFC East. There's going to be somebody different every season.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.